So we have already seen 3 examples in the previous class. And this is another example from PKNAG. There are 6 examples in PKNAG, and I have taken all the 6 examples because these are all some standard problems. Okay, and of inputs like what sort of problems that you can get. Okay, some standard problems which can also give you some inputs about the various methods by which the problem can be solved. Okay, the internal energy of a certain substance is given by U equal to 3.56 PV at plus 84, where U is in kilojoule per kilogram, which means this U is specific internal energy. What is given here is specific internal energy. That is why you have the units in kilojoule per kilogram, and they have given it as an equation where P is in Pascal and V is in meter cube per kilogram. Okay, a system composed of 3 kilogram of the substance. So they have talked about the internal energy of the substance, and there is a system which comprises of 3 kilogram of the substance. So M is 3 kilogram from an initial pressure of 500 kilopascal and volume of 0.22 meter cube. So here they have given 500 kilopascal, which happens to be your P1. Okay, and a volume of 0.22 meter cube. So this would be your initial volume V1. Okay, and this 3 kilogram is going to be your mass M. Okay, to your final pressure of 100 kilopascal. So this 100 kilopascal is going to be your pressure P2. The initial pressure is 500 kilopascal. The final pressure is 100 kilopascal. And the pressure and volume are related by PV to the power 1.2 equal to constant. So this is a polytropic process where the value of N is equal to 1.2. This is a polytropic process which is of the form PV power N equal to constant. So this is a polytropic process. And the value of N happens to be 1.2. Instead of N, you have got 1.2 here. So the index of the polytropic process is 1.2. N stands for index. The question is, if the expansion is quasi-static, find heat transfer, internal energy, and work done for the process. That is question number 1. Okay, question number 2 is, in another process, the same system expands according to the same pressure volume relationship as in part A, and from the same initial state to the same final state as in part A, but the heat transfer in this case is 30 kilojoule. So they have given heat transfer here, which happens to be 30 kilojoule. This is subdivision B. So this 30 kilojoule they have given as heat transfer. Find the work transfer in this process, which means in subdivision B, the process is no longer quasi-static. They are saying heat transfer is 30 kilojoule. The internal energy of the substance is not going to change whether it is quasi-static or non-quasi-static. So del U will be the same. They are changing Q, so they are asking us to find out W. And now they want us to find the difference between subdivisions A and B. So this is the question that they have given. Okay, so let's see how to proceed. So as you all know, this is related with the first law of thermodynamics. So we are going to use a simple equation, which is nothing but a simple addition. Q equal to delta U plus W. Okay. Whereas in this case, they are talking about a process 1,2. So we need to find out the value of Q12, del U12, and W12. Okay. So how to proceed further? They have given us the values of pressure P1, pressure P2, volume V1. V2 is not given. Is it possible to find out the value of V2? Can any one of you tell me, is it possible to find out the value of V2, or is V2 equal to V1? Can any one of you tell me, is V2 equal to V1, or is V2 a different value? Is it possible to find out the value of V2? Are you guys hearing me?
Sir, P1 V1 power n is equal to P2 V2 power n, sir.
Yes, that is the way by which we can find it out. PV power n equal to constant is given. So we have to use that equation and write P1 V1 power n equal to P2 V2 power n. That is what we have to use. So this is P2 V2 power n. And now you know the values of P1, V1, P2. N value is 1.2, so you can find out the value of V2. So you have to, so which implies P1 happens to be 500. Because we have got pressure on both the sides, you can cancel out the kilopascal on both sides. So it would be 500 kilopascal into V1 power n is 0.22 whole to the power 1.2. So in the background you have advertisement for ice creams also, which is equal to 100 multiplied by V2 to the power 1.2. Okay, so now we have to find out the value of V2, which means V2 is equal to 500 divided on both sides multiplied by 0.22 to the power 1.2. And remember, it is V2 to the power 1.2. So if I have to find out V2, then the whole thing should have a power 1 by 1.2. Whole thing should be raised to the power 1 by 1.2. So this will give you the value of the volume. I think it is 0.84 meter cube. I'm not sure. So you'll get some value for this. Okay, so this is your V2. So now that you know the value of V2, how do I proceed further? I need to estimate the values of the heat transfer, change in internal energy, and work transfer. Okay, so how do I do that? Which one shall I start first? Which is possible to find out? Any guess? How will you guys proceed? Should I start with heat transfer or work transfer or change in internal energy? Which one should I start with? This is not a complicated problem. It's a very simple problem. No idea?
So work done.
Work done. Because we know the formula for work done. Okay, so let's go ahead with work done. So as per your suggestion, we can go ahead with work done. So work done 1 to 2 is equal to P2 V2 minus P1 V1 divided by 1 minus 1. Am I writing the formula correct? P2 V2 minus P1 V1 divided by 1 minus n. We have done this in our video lecture on work transfer. So if you have doubts, you can go and check that once again. Okay, so P2 V2 would be 500. I think the value for V2 is 0.84. Yeah, it's 0.8. 500 into 0.84, that is P2 V2. So P2 is 0.84 meter cube. V2 is 0.84 meter cube minus 100 times 0.22. 100 times 0.22. whole divided by 1 minus
Sir,
yeah.
sir, V2 is 0.84, no, sir.
Yes. That is what I have written. Okay, so the mistake is with the pressure value. Pressure value is 100 into 0.1.84 into minus 500 into 0.22. Now is that correct? P2 V2 minus P1 V1. So it is 100 into 0.84 minus 500 into 0.22 divided by 1 minus 1.2. Okay, so you will end up getting another answer. You can write that answer in kilojoules because we have used the value of volume directly. Okay, we have used the value of volume directly. So that work then would be 127.5 kilojoule. So this is 127.5 kilojoule. Okay, so this is your work done. So this is the work done by the system. It is a positive work done, so it is work done by the system. Okay. So now that we have done work done, the next thing is either we have to go ahead with the heat transfer or change in internal energy. So what shall we do now? We can't go directly and find heat transfer, so we have to go with the change in internal energy. So the change in internal energy, they have given the equation for specific internal energy. Small u equal to 3.56 PV plus 84. So I can write this as small u1 equal to 3.56 P1 V1. So this can be written as 3.56 P1 V1 small v1 plus 84. Similarly, you can also write that as 3.56 u2 is 3.56 p2 v2. So u2 is 3.56 the problem is with this writing using keyboard and mouse. P2 V2 plus 84. Okay, so that is your U2. So delta U would be U2 minus U1. So delta U would be U2 minus U1. So the change in specific internal energy would be U2 minus U1. Okay, so you can substitute the value of the pressure P1 and specific volume V1 here, and you will get some answer here. Okay, and one thing where you have to be very careful here is what is given is in the equation is specific volume, and what we have found out is the volume in meter cube. Okay, so you have to first convert the volume into specific volume and then substitute it in this equation. Okay, so when you convert volume into specific volume, you should divide the volume by mass. V1 divided by M. So V1 is going to be 0.22. 0.22 divided by mass happens to be 3 kilogram. So you'll get a value in meter cube per kilogram. So this value is what you should substitute it in the first equation. Okay. So similarly, you can also find the value of small v2. Capital V2 divided by the mass. So capital V2 here is 0.84. So 0.84 divided by the mass is 3. So you'll get some answer in meter cube per kilogram. So now that we have estimated the values of the specific volume, you can substitute them in these two equations, U1 and U2, and get the values of the specific internal energy at the initial and final state in kilojoule per kilogram. So kindly substitute your values here for P1 V1 and P2 V2. You will get some answer in kilojoule per kilogram. Once you get that value, then you can find the change in the specific internal energy, which is small u2 minus small u1. You will get some answer in kilojoule per kilogram. So can you guys quickly solve this and give me the answer for small delta u, delta small u in kilojoule per kilogram? Solve this, small u1 and small u2. Small u1 and small u2, and find out the difference delta u and get me the value of delta u. And this value that you are getting is delta u 1 to 2. So once you get the value of delta u, this is small delta u. So then what you should do to calculate the change in internal energy, you should multiply this with the mass. Mass into delta small u. Mass into delta small u. That will give you the change in internal energy. What we have got till now is the change in specific internal energy. So multiply it with mass, then you will get delta capital U. Once you get that, now you will be able to compute the value of Q. Now you can say Q is equal to delta U plus W. Now you can estimate the value of Q. It's lengthy but very simple. There is nothing complicated here. Simple mathematical addition, subtraction, and multiplication. Okay, so this is the answer that I'm getting. So U1 is 214.53 kilojoule per kilogram, and U2 is 183.68 kilojoule per kilogram. And so delta U happens to be minus 30.85 kilojoule per kilogram. The book answer is slightly different. And so I asked you,
minus 30.794, sir.
which one?
Small delta U.
Which one?
Small delta U, sir.
Small delta is how much?
Minus 30.794.
That's fine. That's okay.
Okay.
30.79 is 30.8, and I am getting 30.85, which is somewhere around minus 30.8 and minus 30.9. That's fine. That's okay. Minor deviations can be there. The book answer is still lesser. It's somewhere around minus 30.3 or something. Okay. So I have asked you to estimate the value of delta capital U by multiplying delta small u with m. And I asked you to do it as a separate step. I have combined that here. So delta capital U is minus 30.85 into 3. That I have done here, and then I have added it with a button. So the net heat transfer happens to be 34.95 kilojoule. Okay, so this is what we get for the first subdivision. The first subdivision, they said it is a quasi-static process. So if you remember, when we did our unit number 1, we said W equal to integral PdV is applicable only for a closed system undergoing a quasi-static process. And it is this W equal to integral PdV applied for PV power n. We got this equation, P2 V2 power n minus P1 V1 power n. Sorry, P2 V2 minus P1 V1 divided by 1 minus n. That was obtained by using W equal to integral PdV. Okay, so that is how we got it. So this subdivision is subdivision A for a quasi-static process. Okay, and then the second subdivision when Q happens to be 30 kilojoule. Okay, so now they want us to find out the work transfer. So delta U remains the same. So that is 30.85 into 3. That is capital delta U. Okay, and they have given the heat transfer as 30. So now the work transfer is 122.5 kilojoule. Okay, when it is a quasi-static process, we found that the work transfer is 127.5. Now here the work transfer is 122.5. Okay, and what is the comparison? The comparison is subdivision A, we are going to have a quasi-static process where the work done is obtained by using integral PdV. Whereas in subdivision B, it is not a quasi-static process. If it is a quasi-static process, your work done will be more. And what about your heat transfer? Your heat transfer would be, your heat transfer is 34.95. Your heat transfer is also more. Whereas in this particular case, when it is non-quasi-static and when they have mentioned the heat transfer is 30 kilojoule, your work done is also going down. Okay, so as far as subdivision C is concerned, when they are asking us to compare, part A refers to quasi-static process using the PdV work, whereas part B refers to a non-quasi-static process. That is the answer that we can write for subdivision C. Okay, so this is one standard question that turns out in the question paper time and again. So you can make a note of it. And you would be lucky if you get such a simple question. Another example from PK. A fluid is confined in a cylinder by a spring-loaded frictionless piston so that the pressure in the fluid is a linear function of volume, P equal to AV plus B. The internal energy of the fluid is given by U equal to 34 plus 3.15 PV. U is in kilojoule, so this is capital U here. P is in Pascal and B is in meter cube. If the fluid changes from an initial state of 170 kilopascal, 0.03 meter cube to a final state of 400 kilopascal and 0.06 meter cube, with no work other than the work done on the piston, find the direction and magnitude of work and heat transfer. Okay, so this is a simple problem, but here you need to find out some additional details. Okay, they have given two relationships here. One is the relationship between the pressure and volume, P equal to AV plus B. This is one relation. So we are going to use this relation somewhere. And the this you are familiar, just now we did it. So U1 you can find out as 34 plus 3.15 P1V1. U2 is 34 plus 3.15 P2V2. P1V1 is given, P2V2 is given. So you can find out the value of delta U. So delta U is simply U2 minus U1. You estimate the value of U2, you estimate the value of U1 using the given equation as above. So U2, I will write it for one thing and you can write it for the next one. So U2 is 34 plus 3.15 P1V1 for P2V2. If it is for U2, then it would be P2. And U1 would be 34 plus 3.15 P1V1. And here we have P equal to AV plus B. And where are we going to use this particular equation? So delta U, you can straight away find out using this. So 34 plus 3.15 P2V2 and 34 plus 3.15 P1V1. get the values, substitute the values of pressure and volume, you will get something in kilojoule. And so U2 minus U1, you will get some answer in kilojoule. That will give you the change in internal energy. Okay. How will you find out work done? How will you find out work done? How will you find out work done for this particular case? In the last case, they said PV to the power 1.2 equal to constant. So we use the equation P2 V2 minus P1 V1 by 1 minus N. Here they have not mentioned anything, whether it's a constant pressure process or a constant volume process or an isothermal process, isentropic process, nothing is mentioned here. So which formula should be used for work done here? Any guess? None of you are able to infer it?
The same given in the question. P equal to AV.
P equal to AB plus B. So
we could integrate with respect to volume.
the volume is already there. Volume is already there. Pressure is already there. Initial pressure value is 170 kilopascal and initial volume value is 0.03 meter cube. Final pressure is 400 kilopascal and final volume is 0.06 meter cube. Those two values are available. So if we substitute it, what are we going to get? So I'm not able to follow what you are saying. Can you just please repeat it?
No, sir. No, sir.
No, you said something. Someone said something. That guy can just explain what he was actually trying to tell me. I'm not able to follow what he said.
Sir, I thought that we could integrate the pressure with respect to volume, sir.
You thought you
But
could use
not
this
possible.
equation? You wanted to use that equation to estimate the values of pressure and volume?
No, sir. Work done. W equal to integral PDV only, no, sir.
Yes, that is what we have to do. That is what I am trying to get you from guys. So this should be integral PDV. W should be integral PDV. So in place of P, you can
Yes, sir.
substitute that equation. Good, very good. That is the correct answer. So that should be integral of AV plus B. This particular equation should be integrated. So don't forget this basic simple W equal to integral PDV formula. Okay, so now when you integrate it, you will get A into V squared by 2 plus BV. So this is A into V squared by 2 plus BV. But my question is, we don't know the value of this A and B, then what shall we do? So if you substitute the limits, it would be A into V2 squared minus V1 squared divided by 2 plus B into V2 minus V1. So we know the values of V2 and V1, so that is not an issue. But we don't know the value of A and B, so what should we do? Is it possible to find out the values of A and B? We don't know the values of A and B. Can we find out the values of A and B?
Sir,
Yes.
sir, audible, sir.
So P is equal to AV plus B, that is given. We use that in W equal to integral PDV. And we are estimating the work done as A into V2 squared minus V1 squared by 2 plus B into V2 minus V1. We know the values of V1 and V2, but we don't know the values of A and B. Is it possible to find out the value of the constants A and B? That is my question. Is it possible to get the values of the constants A and B? How do we get the value of the constants A and B?
Sir,
the
two values of this, sir. Two equations.
Yes, one of you can tell me.
sir, sir,
Go ahead.
sir, P1 V1 and P2 V2 value apply பண்ணி A and B two equation form பண்ணலாம் சார். அந்த two equation வந்து A and B find out பண்ணலாம் சார்.
Yes, very good. That is the only way by which we can do it. Okay, so you have to substitute the values of the pressure and volume in the state points 1 and 2. So you have to write P1 equal to A V1 plus B, and you have to write P2 equal to A V2 plus B. Okay, and you can substitute the values of the pressure P1, P2, and the values of the volume V1 and V2. And if you will have two algebraic equations here using your calculator, using two unknowns, you can substitute the values and get the values of A and B. So once you know the values of A and B, you can substitute it in this work done formula and you will be able to get the value of work done. You have already estimated the value of delta U. Now you know the value of W. So Q is simply delta U plus W. And as I already said, U1 happens to be 16.099 kilojoule, U2 is 75.64 kilojoule. So delta U happens to be 59.54 kilojoule. So you estimate the value of Q using delta U plus W, and that happens to be 68.09. Okay, so these are things which you need to work out. The problems are lengthy, but there is nothing complicated here. There is no differential or complex difference equations here. Simple algebraic equations involving multiplication and addition. Okay, so don't worry if you have not copied it. I'll share the slides with you, so you can copy that later on as well. Okay, so this is another standard problem, and you will be getting in your question paper. Okay, they will give you the processes, and they will ask you to draw the PV diagram, and they will ask you to estimate the values which are left out. Okay, a stationary fluid system goes through a cycle as shown in figure. The figure I haven't added it here. Process 1-2 is isobaric heat addition of 235 kilojoule per kilogram. What do you mean by isobaric? It is constant volume heat addition. So volume where there is no heat transfer. So adiabatic means it is perfectly insulated, so there is no heat transfer here. So your Q will be 0 in case of adiabatic expansion. So for subdivision B, Q equal to 0. For subdivision 1, we said volume is constant. When volume is constant, what is the work done here? Work done is 0. When volume is constant, work done is 0. Adiabatic expansion, we say heat transfer is 0. And they have said with a loss of 70 kilojoule per kilogram in internal energy. So delta U happens to be minus 70. Because they have used the word loss, so this is going to be minus 70 kilojoule per kilogram. Isobaric compression. What do you mean by isobaric compression? The pressure remains constant here. So this is constant pressure process. To its original volume means to the initial volume where it started. Heat rejection of 200 kilojoule per kilogram. So this is heat loss, which means the sign should be negative. Minus 200 kilojoule per kilogram. Okay, So if you look at the PV diagram, actually in this problem the PV diagram is given to you. In some problems they'll ask you to draw the PV diagram. The first process is constant volume heat addition. So this is state point number 1, this is number 2. And then you have adiabatic expansion. So it would be something like this. So this is process 2, 3. And then you have isobaric compression. 3 to 1 is isobaric compression, where you go back to your initial volume. Okay. And this cycle is called as Lenoir cycle. Lenoir. In applied thermodynamics, we will be dealing with a lot of cycles. So here we will be dealing with the cycles, but we will be concentrating much on heat transfer and work transfer. In the next applied thermodynamics, we'll be dealing with the performance of the cycles. So what is the efficiency, and what are all the modifications that can be done to improve the efficiency of the cycle? All those things we'll be doing in the next semester. Okay, so this is the PV diagram for the given problem, and they want us to find out prepare an energy balance sheet and find out the missed out entities, and they want to find the overall change during the cycle. Okay, so if you look at process 1-2, in process 1-2, what they have given is the heat addition is given. So Q12 happens to be 235. So this is 235 kilojoule per kilogram. Because it is a constant volume heat addition, work done is 0. There is no change in V. So integral P dV, if there is no change in V, dV is equal to 0. So work done is 0 here. So here work done and heat transfer is known. So delta U is simply Q minus W. So delta U is also 235. Okay. And if you look at process 2-3, process 2-3 adiabatic expansion to its original pressure with the loss of 70 kilojoule per kilogram in internal energy. So because they have used the word adiabatic, Q is 0, and they have said the loss of internal energy is minus 70. So Q equal to delta U plus W. So W23 is Q minus delta U. So 0 minus of minus 70 will become plus 70. So work done in the second process is plus 70 kilojoule per kilogram. If you look at process 3-1, it is isobaric compression, which means pressure remains constant, and they have said the heat transfer value is minus 200 kilojoule per kilogram. Okay. So how will you find out the value of work done and internal energy for subdivision C? For subdivision A and B, we already knew the other two values. If you look at subdivision A, you know the value of Q and W. We just need to find out the value of delta U. In process 2-3, we know the values of Q and delta U. We found out the value of W. But in subdivision C, only Q is known to us. How do you find out the values of W and delta U? Nothing else is given in the problem. So how will we find out delta U and W with just one known value of Q equal to minus 200 kilojoule per kilogram?
So we can find the internal energy now with total energy for a cycle set to be 0.
Total energy for a cycle is set to be 0. So by using that, you will be able to estimate
delta U for 3-1 process.
Okay, then how will you find out work transfer?
So we know the Q
I
and
think both are same only.
so we can find the W now.
So once you know the value of delta U, so Q minus delta U will give you W. Exactly, very good. But so because it is a cycle, either you can go ahead and say summation of delta U is equal to 0, or by using the first law, you can say summation of Q is equal to summation of W. Either way you can do it, and both will fetch you the same answer. Okay, so I have done this in the form of a table. So you can see process 1, 2, they have said it as isochoric heat addition. So the work done is 0 because volume is 0, and they have given the value of Q. So we have to find out the value of delta U, and we have estimated it. This happens to be minus 235, sorry, plus 235. Okay, adiabatic expansion, because it is adiabatic, Q is 0, and we found out the value of the W here. And we know the value of Q alone, we don't know the value of W and delta U here. So if you go and use the first law of thermodynamics where you say summation of Q equal to summation of W, summation of Q would be 35, which means summation of W is also supposed to be 35. You know that the first value is 0, the second value is 70. So the third value of work then in case of process 3.1 would be 35. Okay. Minus 35. So this would be minus 35. So here you have got Q equal to delta U plus W. So delta U is Q minus W. So minus 200 plus 35 will give you minus 165. And here the value is already 235. So now if you add the last but one column of this table, you get 235 minus 70 minus 165. The summation would be 0. Okay. So if you are getting problems from the first law of thermodynamics for the closed system, you will be very lucky, because you are using a very simple equation, Q equal to delta U plus W. Okay, if you take it in any form, maybe you have to compute the value of U1, U2 depending upon the equation that is first law of thermodynamics applied to closed systems. Okay, so the proof also I have shown summation of delta U is also 0 in this particular case. Okay, so these are some problems, some standard problems from engineering thermodynamics by P.K. Nag. Okay, so for different processes, you need to know what is the different formulae that you will be using. Okay, so you need not memorize this. You can just derive this anytime you want. The first thing is the relationship, the pressure, volume, temperature relationship. So from the ideal gas equation of state, we said PVT equal to constant. Because PV by T is equal to constant, I can write this as P1 V1 by T1 equal to P2 V2 by T2. Unless or otherwise mentioned, the problem follows the ideal gas equation of state. Okay, so P1 V1 by T1 equal to P2 V2 by T2. And as per the first process, your work is your volume is constant. It is a constant volume process. So V1 is equal to V2. So I can cancel out this V1 and V2 on both sides, because V1 is equal to V2, I can cancel out this term. So P1 by T1 equal to P2 by T2, or I can say P1 by P2 is equal to T1 by T2, or P2 by P1 equal to T2 by T1. That is the relationship that we get for a constant volume process. So when I say P2 by P1, so if I write P2 by P1 equal to T2 by T1. Okay, so if I write it like this equation is not applicable for everything. This is not a standard formula. P2 by P1 equal to T2 by T1 is not a standard formula. This is applicable only for a constant volume process. Only when you are able to cancel out the volume terms, only then it is applicable. So this particular equation is not a general equation. This equation is derived specifically for a constant volume process. Okay, so this relationship you should know. So sometimes in the problem they will give you the values of the pressure, volume, and temperature at the initial state, and they may give only the pressure or temperature in the final state. So then you have to use this particular relationship to get the other value also. Okay, so this is number one. So the first one is the pressure, temperature, volume relationship. The second one is work done. Work done we have already seen. So I'm not going to talk about this work done again. Work done we have very specifically done. W equal to integral PdV for all the four processes. We have already done. So I'm not going into that. Change in energy. So if you remember the definition that we saw in the class, delta U, small u is CV times dt. So delta small u is CV times dt. So if it is delta capital U, you should multiply it with mass. That's all. So it would be mCV into dt. It will be mCV into dt. Okay. And dt will be final volume minus initial volume, and that is what we can see here, mCV into T2 minus T1. And that is very common for all the processes except for the isothermal process. If you look at isothermal process, temperature T2 will be equal to T1. So T2 minus T1 will become 0. So your change of internal energy is 0 only for an isothermal process. Isothermal process is PV equal to constant. We have already seen how this PV equal to constant is retained for an isothermal process. Okay. And heat transferred. Here you can see it is mCV into T2 minus T1. This is using the simple relation Q equal to delta U plus W. So delta U is mCV into T2 minus T1. W is 0. Because W is 0, your Q is equal to delta U. So you get mCV into T2 minus T1 here also, because your W is 0. So this is also applicable only for your constant volume process. And change in enthalpy, you know, it is Cp times dt. So mCp into T2 minus T1, that is your change in enthalpy. So in the last class, we have also talked about this. So delta H is Cp times dt, Cp times dt. So dH or delta capital H would be mCp into dt multiplied with the mass. And that dt is T2 minus T1. Okay, and that will also be the same for everything, mCp dt and Cp dt for all the process except for the isothermal process. For isothermal process, T1 is equal to T2. So for isothermal process alone, you get 0. Okay, and one more thing, what we have not seen so far is the change in entropy. And this we have talked only slightly. And we said, while we talked about work and heat transfer, we simply said Q is integral TdS. Just like W is integral PdV, we said Q is integral TdS. And that is why we said area under the curve in a PV diagram will give you work transfer. Our area under the curve in a TS diagram will give you heat transfer. Okay, this is what we have seen. So now if we have to estimate the value of change in entropy, then we can write this as ds is equal to, we have to differentiate it on both sides. So you will get TdS equal to dq or ds equal to dq by t. And if I want to find out delta S would be integral dq by t. It would be integral dq by t. So delta S is integral dq by t. Okay, just a minute. So I'll take a blank page. So we said delta S is equal to integral dq by t. Okay, let's do that for a constant volume process. So for a constant volume process, okay, we will say for volume equal to constant, what is the value of delta S? So for delta, for a constant volume process, dq is mcv into dt divided by t. And you can take this mass and specific heat outside, and if you integrate dt by t, you will get ln t. And between the limits 2 and 1, which means between the limits t2 and t1. So that is mcv into ln of t2 by t1. So it is mcv into ln of t2 by t1. So this is applicable for a constant volume process. So can you try it for pressure equal to constant? So for pressure equal to constant, what will you do? It is the same formula, delta S equal to dq by t. dq for a constant pressure process is what? What is heat transfer for a constant pressure process? So for a constant pressure process, heat transfer is mcp into T2 minus T1. Here it was mcv into T2 minus T1. Now it is mcp into T2 minus T1. So your delta S would be mcp dt. So delta S is equal to mcp into dt divided by t. So that would be mcp into ln of t2 by t1. How about for an isothermal process? For an isothermal process, what about the heat transfer? So for an isothermal process, temperature remains constant. So what will be the value of heat transfer for an isothermal process? Can anyone of you tell me? What is the heat transfer for an isothermal process? Temperature remains constant. So Q should be
0.
Q is 0, right? So because the temperature is constant, Q is equal to 0. That is what everyone will tend to say. And that is why we are also asking that question. It is not 0. Why it is not 0? We have the relation PV equal to constant. This is a very common mistake everybody makes, so you have to be very careful here. They even ask the same question in competitive exams also. Okay, so PV is equal to constant for an isothermal process. In an isothermal process, you see only temperature is constant. T1 is equal to T2. Okay, it is not adiabatic. Only when you say it is adiabatic, here Q is equal to 0. You simply say it is, the temperature remains the same. Okay, and you know work done for an isothermal process, which we have derived earlier. We have said that work done for an isothermal process is P1 V1 into ln of T2 by T1. This is the work done for an isothermal process. What about delta U for an isothermal process? Delta U usual formula is mCV into dt. So this is mCV into T2 minus T1. This fellow is 0 because T1 is equal to T2. So when I say T2 minus T1, delta U is 0. Now when you guys tell me that Q is equal to 0, if heat transfer is equal to 0, see whether, so Q is 0, delta U is 0. How come then W will be P1 V1 into ln of T2 by T1? As per the first law of thermodynamics, the first law of thermodynamics tells us Q is equal to delta U plus W. Okay, so only delta U is 0. If delta U is 0, then Q should be equal to W. Okay, so don't forget that. So for an isothermal process, Q is not equal to 0, Q is equal to W as per the first law of thermodynamics. Then how do I find out the value of delta S? That is the next question. Okay, so delta S, we have to find out the value of delta S. dq,
So here
yeah,
T2 and T1, if they are equal, then we can cancel in, it will be ln of 1. So W, wouldn't it become 0, sir?
sorry, this is not T2.
It is a
I have
P2 by P1 or
sorry, the
V2?
formula is P2 by V1. I have written
Oh,
it wrong. P1
oh,
V1 into ln. Good observation. Yeah, if it is T2 by T1, then it would be 1 and ln 1 will be 0, then W would be 0. So I have written it wrongly. It should be P1 V1 into ln of V2 by V1 or P1 by P2. It won't be T2 by T1. Good
okay.
observation. That is correct. Okay, so your Q should be equal to W. Your W will not be 0 and your Q will not be 0. Okay. But then we have to find out the value of delta S here. Okay, so delta S, we have to use dq by t. So either we have to use P1 V1 into ln of V2 by V1, or so we normally tend to write this as uh, is given as mr into ln of P1 by P2, which means your W is P1 V1 times ln of V2 by V1. Either you can use this formula or you can use P1 V1 into ln of P1 by P2. Okay. And now we have to estimate the value of delta S. We have to estimate the value of delta S. Okay, so what we do is, so your delta S is supposed to be dq by t. You can use either of the one equation. So let me take the first one. So if we take the first one, then automatically you will know how to take the second one as well. So P1 V1 into ln of V2 by V1 whole divided by T. Okay. And as per our ideal gas equation of state, your P1 V1 can be replaced by MRT1 into ln of V2 by V1 whole divided by T. Okay, and now we are talking about isothermal process where temperature remains constant. So your T will be equal to T1, which is equal to T2. Okay, so I can cancel out this temperature because it is an isothermal process. So in an isothermal process, the temperature remains the same. So I will end up getting Mr times ln of V2 by V1, or as per the second formula, I can also write this as Mr times ln of P1 by P2. Okay, that is what is given here. It is given as Mr times ln of P1 by P2. You can also have Mr times ln of V2 by V1. Okay, so that is the change in entropy for an isothermal process. Okay, and just like isothermal process, so here also for the polytropic process, your work done as P2 V2 minus P1 V1 divided by 1 minus N. Okay, and your change in internal energy is mCV times T2 minus T1. So your Q, you should use the first of thermodynamics. You have to add the work done and the internal energy, and then you will be able to get the value of heat transfer. That is the only way by which you can get it here. There is no specific or a different formula available for an isentropic process or a polytropic process. Okay. And for an isentropic process, what would be the heat transfer? For an isentropic process, what would be the heat transfer? We haven't talked about it much. For an isentropic process, what is isentropic process? Entropy remains constant. That is what I have told you so far. So isentropic process, we say S is equal to constant. If S is equal to constant, then that is called isentropic process. This isentropic process is also called as reversible adiabatic process. So if it is adiabatic, your Q will be equal to 0. Okay, so for an isentropic process, Q is equal to 0. If Q is equal to 0, then your delta U is equal to minus W, or W is equal to minus delta U. Your delta U plus W will be equal to 0. So you will have the same value for delta U and W, but with opposite signs. Okay, and I have already told you before, the isentropic process, we call it as PV power gamma equal to constant. So you have PV power gamma, where gamma is the ratio of the specific heat, Cp by Cv. So here in this equation, it is PV power n, here you have PV power gamma. So you are replacing n by gamma. So whatever you have written here, wherever you have got n, you have to replace it with gamma, that's all. So you will have P2 V2 minus P1 V1 divided by 1 minus n. Okay, and this Cn value is different, don't worry about that. Change in entropy for an isentropic process will be, so for a polytropic process, it is mCn into ln of T2 by T1. We will talk about it later on, don't worry. PV power gamma equal to constant is isentropic process. So what will be the change in entropy for an isentropic process? Can anyone of you tell me? What is change in entropy for an isentropic process?
0, sir.
Yes, it is 0 because entropy remains constant. So change in entropy should be 0 for an isentropic process. Okay, so for an isentropic process, change in entropy is 0. Similarly, your heat transfer will also be 0 because it is a reversible adiabatic. Okay, so your enthalpy will be the same, mCp times T2 minus T1. Change in internal energy will be the same as that of P2 V2 minus P1 V1 divided by 1 minus gamma, and your internal energy will be the negative of that particular work done. Okay, so this table, most of you would have studied this in your introduction to mechanical sciences itself, and you may get problems from this particular table also. So they will give you a set of conditions and they'll ask you to find what is the work done or change in internal energy, change in enthalpy, change in entropy, and they'll ask you to find the mixed out values. Okay, so one such problem I have taken as an example. So a certain gas occupies a volume of 0.3 meter cube at a pressure of 2 bar. Okay, so they have given you the initial volume. The initial volume is 0.3 meter cube. The initial pressure is 2 bar. The temperature of the gas at this state is 350 Kelvin, which is T1. The gas undergoes a thermodynamic constant volume process until the pressure rises to 7 bar. So your P2 is 7 bar. Determine the temperature at the end of the process. So they want us to find the value of T2. What is the value of T2? They are asking us to find out the value of T2. And they are asking us to find the change in internal energy, the change in enthalpy, the change in entropy. So all these they are asking us to find out. So these are the details that we are supposed to find out. Okay, and the key is it undergoes a constant volume process. So it is V equal to constant. So if V is equal to constant, dV is equal to 0, which means work done is also equal to 0. The moment you hear the word constant volume, then immediately it should strike your mind that the work done is 0. Okay. The first question is determine the temperature at the end of the process. So how will you find out the temperature at the end of the process? Which formula will you use? How will you find out the temperature at the end of the process? How will you find out temperature at the end of the process? No idea?
P1 by P2 is equal to
P1
divided by P2 is equal to T1 by T2.
So we have to use the ideal gas equation of state. Either you can remember the formula or you can use the simple ideal gas equation of state relation. P1 V1 by T1 equal to P2 V2 by T2. You can use this simple relation and then you can estimate the missed out value. And they have said that the volume remains constant, which means you can cancel out volume V1 and volume V2 because both of them are same. So T2 is equal to P2 by P1 times T1. So P2 by P1 times T1. So P2 is 7 divided by 2 multiplied by 350. So 350 into 7 by 2. So that is your temperature T2. Check how much you are getting for your T2. Temperature T2 is, see how much you are getting. So you should be getting 1225 Kelvin. Okay. So once we know the value of T2, the rest of them are they are quite simple. They want you to find the change in internal energy. What is the change in internal energy? So it's not it is MCV into T2 minus T1. Okay, we know the value of T2, we know the value of T1, we know the value of CV. CV is given to you in the problem as 0.712 kilojoule. So when you substitute in the problem, multiply it with 10 to the power 3 and make it as joules. Don't forget to do that. So it is 712. What about the mass? Do we know the mass? Mass is not given to us straight away in the problem. So you have to find out mass using the ideal gas equation of states separately. So mass is equal to P1 V1 by RT1. P1 V1 by RT1. You have to find out this separately and then use that in estimating the value of delta U. Okay. Similarly, you can find delta H also. So delta H equal to MCP times T2 minus T1. How will you find out CP? Is it possible to find out the value of CP? How will you find out CP? You should know the relation R equal to CP minus CV. They have given you the value of R, they have given you the value of CV. So CP is R plus CV. So R is 287, CV is 712. So you'll be getting 999 for this particular case. So CP is R plus CV. So estimate the value of CP, you know the value of mass, you know the value of temperature T2 and T1. What about delta S? Delta S is dq by T, dq is mcv dt. So it will be mcv times ln of T2 by T1. Just now we derived this formula. mcv times ln of T2 by T1. mcv times ln of T2 by T1. And for delta U and delta H, you will get the answer in joules or kilojoule. For entropy, it is dq divided by T, so it will be kilojoule per Kelvin or joule per Kelvin. Be careful with the units, so it will be kilojoule per Kelvin or joule per Kelvin. Okay. So this is the answer that we get for this particular question from a constant pressure process. Okay, so now what we have seen in the previous problem is a constant volume process. Now let's take a question from constant pressure process. Okay, so if you read the question, they have said 1 kilogram of nitrogen. So that is the mass that is given at a temperature of 150 degrees centigrade. So immediately you have to convert it to Kelvin. So T1 is 150. So 150 plus 273 would be 150 plus 273 would be 423 Kelvin. Check this if I am right. So T1 will be 423 Kelvin. Volume of 0.2 meter cube. So V1 is 0.2 meter cube. The gas undergoes a fully restricted constant pressure expansion. So this is the keyword. So this is a constant pressure process. Without V2. So calculate the final temperature, heat transferred, and change in entropy. Okay, take CV and R. Okay, so they want us to find out the value of the final temperature, heat transfer, and change in entropy. So to find out the final temperature, you can use the same relation P1 V1 by T1 equal to P2 V2 by T2. So I don't have the answers with you, so you guys have to solve simultaneously so that we can check what values that we get. So P1 V1 by T1 equal to P2 V2 by T2. So because they have said it is a constant pressure process, I can cancel out P1 and P2. So now what I have is T2 is equal to T1 times V2 by V1. For 23 Kelvin. V2 is 0.36. V1 is 0.2. And so you will get the answer in Kelvin. So this is your temperature T2. Okay. So heat transferred for a constant pressure process, which is nothing but MCP delta T. So this is MCP times so you guys have to tell me the value of T2. What value do you get for T2?
761.4.
761.4. Okay, so that is the value that you guys are getting. Okay, so the mass is given as 1, so that is not a problem. Cp is R plus Cv, so 297 plus 743. So that is Cp, and Cv is, sorry, T2 minus T1 is 761.4, 761.4 minus 123. So check how much do you get. And the answer will be in joules or kilojoule, preferably in kilojoule.
So 1.37.
1.37. 1.37. Okay, so this is what we get for heat transfer. And the last question is change in entropy. So change in entropy would be dq by t. So that should have been mcp dt, integral of mcp dt by t, which should be mcp times ln of t2 by t1. So this would be mcp times ln of T2 by T1. So mass is 1. Cp is again 297 plus 743. 297 plus 743 times ln of T2 was 761.4 and T1 is 423. So this is 423. Check how much you are getting. So this should be in
So 611.2.
611.2. Is it kilojoule or simply joule?
So no, sir, only joules.
So we will say it is 0.611. 0.611 kilojoule per Kelvin. Okay. So you will be getting problems like this. So either for 3 marks or 4 marks, we do not know what sort of problems that you may be getting. Okay, so this is the another set of problems. So either you will be getting straight away from the first law of thermodynamics, or you will have to apply the first law using all these relationships. Okay, change in internal energy, change in enthalpy, change in entropy. Using all this, you may get a problem. Okay. Which is a isothermal process. Okay. Hope the slide is visible to you. Okay, a mass of 0.8 kg of air. Mass is 0.8 kg. The pressure P1 is 1 bar. The temperature T1 is given as 25 degrees centigrade. 25 plus 273 would be 298 Kelvin. So don't forget to convert it to Kelvin at the first hand. In a gas tight frictionless piston cylinder device, the air is now compressed to a final pressure of 5 bar. So they have given you the value of pressure P2. Cylinder remains constant. Okay, so they have said T1 is equal to T2. Calculate the heat transferred and work done during the process and direction of each in the process. Okay, so this is a very simple question actually. This is a simple 2-mark question. Calculate the heat transfer and work done. We know for an isothermal process delta U is 0. So work done is equal to heat transfer. So you have to simply find out the value of heat transfer. So what is the formula for heat work done or heat work done in case of an isothermal process? It is P1 V1 times ln of V2 by V1, but here V2 value is not given. V1 value is also not given, so let's go ahead with the pressure formula. So we can say it is ln of P1 by P2. So it is either V2 by V1 or ln of P1 by P2. And instead of P1 V1, you can write it as MRT1 also. So you can replace this P1 V1 with MRT1 also. Because they have said this as air, the mass is also given as 0.8 kg. You can replace P1 V1 with MRT1, and this ln of P1 by P2 can be retained as such. Ln of P1 by P2 can be retained as such. The value of mass here is 0.8.
Sir,
Yes.
sir, in the previous sum there was mistake, sir.
Previous sum there is a mistake.
Yes, I told the answer wrongly, sir.
Okay, just a minute. Let's finish this and we will go back there. Okay.
Okay, sir.
So let's complete this and we will go back there. 298 into ln of P2 is 5. Sorry, P1 is 1 and P2 is 5. Ln of 1 by 5. It is a compression, so it should be a work input, and 1 by be negative, and you'll get some answer in kilojoule. Check what answer you get, and that answer is equal to your heat transfer. Because delta U is 0, Q should be equal to W. So it's a very simple 2-mark question. What answer you are getting for this? Minus 110.12 kilojoule. Because delta U is 0, Q is equal to W. Okay. So in the previous problem there is a mistake. What is that mistake?
So heat transfer, the value is 351.9 kilojoule.
Okay. So 351.9 kilojoules. So let's strike this out. So 351.9 kilojoule. So it's approximately 352 kilojoule. Okay. So such kind of problems you can see. Okay. One thing which I forgot to do. Okay. So now it is good that I remembered that. So you may get problems like this. Okay. One important thing which I want to tell you is the PV diagrams. Okay. So you may get a series of processes. You will get a series of processes and they'll ask you to draw the PV diagram. Okay. So in the PV diagram, you should know how to draw. So if it is a constant pressure process, it is a simple horizontal line. Okay. So if pressure is constant, you'll get a horizontal line. Okay. So volume equal to constant. So for volume equal to constant, you will get a vertical line. So now we are talking about PV diagram. TS diagram, we will do it later. But the PV diagram, you should remember. So if this is state point number 1, and this is state point number 2, and here also this is state point number 1, this is state point number 2. You can extend this to the y-axis, and you can see that P1 is equal to P2. And you can extend this to the x-axis, and you can see that this is P1, this is your P2. So for a constant volume process, you can see that V1 is equal to V2. This is P2 and this is P1. Okay, so this is the PV diagram for constant pressure and constant volume. Okay, and one more thing is constant temperature. So pressure volume diagram for constant temperature, T equal to constant, which can also be written as PV equal to constant. Okay, and that could be a curve like this. Okay, and your 1, 2. If you are moving from 1 to 2, it is called expansion. There is a drop in pressure and there is an increase in volume. So when you say 1 to 2, it is expansion according to this particular diagram. In your real scenario, it can be 1, 2 or 3, 4 or whatever it may be. It may be even 2, 1 depending upon whatever process that you have. For this particular PV diagram 1, 2, it is expansion. And if you are moving from 2 to 1 in the opposite direction, if you are moving in the opposite direction 2 to 1, then that is compression. You can see that the pressure rises and the volume decreases. So this is your P1. This is your P2. This is your V1. This is your V2. So and if you look at PV power N equal to constant or PV power gamma equal to constant, that will also be like this curve only. But the slope of the curve will change, but it will be also the curve. Okay, so in your thermodynamics, whenever they ask you to draw the PV diagram for a series of processes, maybe they will give you 4 processes and they will ask you to draw the PV diagram for that particular cycle. Okay, So you should remember, for a constant pressure process, it is always a horizontal line. For a constant volume process, it is always a vertical line. For an isothermal process, isentropic process, or a polytropic process, it is going to be a curve. If it is expansion, it is moving towards the right. If it is compression, it is moving towards the left. In a similar way, you can also see here, 1, 2 is expansion and 2, 1 is compression. Constant pressure compression or constant pressure expansion. Even in one of the problem that we see, there was isobaric compression. In one of the problem that we saw earlier, I think it was example number 6. The process 3-1 was isobaric compression, which means it moves from 2 to 1. Pressure remains the same, but the volume has reduced. And if you look at constant volume process, if the pressure increases, if you are moving from 2 to 1, that is heat addition. When heat is added, the volume does not change, which means your pressure should increase. If it is heat rejection, your volume does not change, which means your pressure falls or your pressure drops. There is a drop in pressure. Okay, so heat addition means upwards, heat rejection means downwards. These are some of the points which you can know. So 1 to 2, it is heat added. Heat added. 2 to 1 means heat rejected. Okay, so here 1 to 2 is expansion, EXP. 2 to 1 is compression. Okay, this is something which you should always retain in your mind. So we are going to have only 3 types of curves. It is either a horizontal line or a vertical line or a curve. You will not have anything else. You will have only these 3. Okay, it is either these 3 curves that you will be getting, and you should remember this. Depending upon the problem that you get, depending upon the cycle that you get, and the sequences that we have, you have to draw this particular diagram. Okay. So if you want, we can go back to our example 6 and have a look at it. Okay. See process 1, 2. So let me go to the next slide. Process 1, 2 is isochoric heat addition. Isochoric means constant volume, right? So in a PV diagram, when we have a constant volume process, it is going to be a vertical line. Here it is heat addition, so it is going to be upwards. Okay, so 1, 2 is supposed to be like this, right? And then what we have is adiabatic expansion. So adiabatic expansion. So if it is not a horizontal line or a vertical line, it is supposed to be a curve. So it is expansion. Expansion means towards the right. Okay, so this is going to be 2, 3 in a PV diagram. And isobaric compression. So we are going to have a constant pressure process. So either it should be towards the right or towards the left. Because it is compression, it is going to be towards the left. And now it is a cycle. And we have to join all the 3 curves. Okay, so 1, 2 is isobaric heat addition. 2, 3 is expansion. And 3, 1, it is isobaric compression. So sometimes they give you the diagram and they ask you to estimate the values of heat transfer, work transfer, and the change in internal energy. Or sometimes they just give you the processes and you have to draw the PV diagram. Okay, so this is very important. So you can practice this. You can take the previous year question papers and you can try drawing the PV diagrams for a sequence of processes.